Memory is a way of holding on to things and people that we love. It makes us who we are and recalls to mind the people and things we never really want to lose. And I think some of the things that we can call to mind are our toys. Could you go back into your memory now and think of your first toy that you had? I can still picture my Bubbles. It was a doll. I think I got it when I was about 6, 7 years old. I have a picture of it. What happened to it? I haven't the faintest idea. But can you think of your first toy? What was it and what happened to it? Bonnie?
Well, I remember I had a doll too. It was a soft rag doll, and it was kind of bland looking. It wasn't very exciting, but I loved it, you know, and I take it everywhere. And I named it Squeaky.
Oh.
Even though it didn't say a word. But I wish I knew what happened to it because I'd love to have it today.
Well, you know, many people are shopping on eBay and looking for the long-lost toy that they had as a child. Squeaky, kind of interesting. Anna Mae?
I really don't have much memory of any toys.
You had live toys.
I come from a family of 16, so we had a lot of babies. There were no toys, just lots of babies.
Well, you probably had lots of fun changing diapers.
Yeah.
Where we had to have a diety doll where you fed it the water and then the water would go through and we'd change our little handkerchief.
I took care of the kids. I was the oldest and I took care of the kids.
Right.
And that was it. We never had I never remember a toy.
I can believe that.
Yeah,
I can believe that.
No, nothing.
And how about you, Frank? Now, being a rough and ready boy growing up in the city of Chicago.
Well, I must say, ladies, my choice wasn't a doll. That's for sure.
Oh, good.
Hopefully.
No, I can remember a lot of guns and you know, holsters and stuff like that, and running around in the house and playing like that and watching TV with Roy Rogers and shooting back and things like that, you know. Whatever actually happened to them toys, I don't know. They probably were given to the Goodwill with my dad because he used to believe in that type of stuff, helping the other people. So I imagine that's where my stuff ended up.
Well, now they're collector's items.
Yeah, really.
If you could hold on to some of the things that we had as children, we certainly could be rich. Did you collect comics or anything at that time?
Oh, yeah, that was always big. But, you know, I really didn't get into a lot of that stuff. I know a lot of my friends were into, you know, this comic, that type of comic, and I think the only comics I really seen was the newspaper. My dad used to get the newspaper daily, and I would kind of get hooked onto one or the other, you know. Archie was a big one I used to follow all the time.
That was good.
Now, remember, Uncle Don used to read the Sunday comics on the radio, if anybody remembers that. Okay, so toys are a part of our life, not everybody's, but most. Now, school was part and parcel of your life. What's the earliest memory you have? I have kindergarten that I had mentioned before. I had to stand in the corner because I walked out of the room instead of waiting online to go to the bathroom. That's my earliest school memory. How about you?
My earliest, I went to Catholic school, and my earliest memory is being, for like May Day, I was in the procession, and I was the first one in line. I walked into the church, and I was the first one, and that was a great memory.
You must have been tiny.
I was.
Oh.
Yeah. I was the first one. Yeah, really. But I was. It was very memorable for me. I loved it. And then I remember the school plays that we had that, and I was always picked to get up and recite things, say things. And my aunts used to come from the north side all the way down to where we lived to see me.
Okay.
So that was my first
So
memory.
she always had an audience.
Yeah, I really did.
Very good. Well, how about you, Frank?
Well, I went to Catholic school also, but I don't think I had that fond of memories. I remember the nuns. Always, as soon as you walk into school, they'd always stand there looking down at you, you know, and thought, oh boy, if I can't mess up today. But it was, you know, It was different because all my friends went to the parochial schools, and I was the only one on my block that went to Catholic school.
Well, parochial is Catholic.
And I'm sorry, not public.
Yeah,
Public. I meant
public
public.
school.
Public school.
Yeah, I meant public. I'm sorry. And it was interesting to see compare what their day was and my day was. And they were similar along many lines, but of course, with being Catholic, we went into more of the faith type of issues that they didn't get to go to. But you know, it was a good education. I really did enjoy going to Catholic grade school.
Did they check your shoes every morning?
Yeah, so, you know. But their mass was every morning, though.
Oh, yeah.
You had to go to mass every morning. I remember that.
I remember one little boy was told in Catholic school that he had to use elbow grease on his shoes, and he went to the gas station after school to see if they had any elbow grease.
Oh, there was no walking to school jeans hanging way down
No,
like
they
this now.
didn't.
Everything was uniform back then.
Right.
Well, we didn't wear uniforms. We just wore our own clothes, yeah. And all my friends went to Catholic school too. It was just a whole conglomerate of us.
Right.
We all went
So
to
you
Catholic
grew up
school.
together then?
Yeah.
And how about you, Bonnie?
Well, my earliest memories of school was that I wasn't allowed to go to kindergarten because my sister was born then, and my mother just couldn't walk up and back with me, you know, while my sister was so young. So I waited to get into first grade, and I remember going to school the first day and having to take a test. And they gave me this big blue crayon, and then the teacher would ask, like, mark the girl on the swing, or mark this, or mark that. I guess because you couldn't read yet, you know, and there were no television shows for kids at that time where they would show, you know, reading or writing or things. They wanted to know if you understood. I guess that was the best way to do it. So.
Following directions.
Exactly.
There was no Sesame Street.
I guess not back then.
Well, that is kind of interesting. I know there are school memories. You probably, when you leave here, recall a lot of memories that, oh, yes, I could have said that. Okay, now let's take another little offshoot. We've all traveled. When was the first time, and how old were you, and where did you go when you went all by yourself? I know my first was 10 years old. I traveled on the subway in New York, all by myself to visit my aunt. I guess it was safe back then because Mom let me go and I got there and back. How about you?
The first trip by myself that I could remember was going to downtown Chicago, getting on the buses, and I must have been in my early teens at that time. I had won like a little scholarship to the Art Institute, and they were having us come down, and they had models, and we were able to draw, and you know, it was very exciting, you know, doing something like that. So that's the first one I can recall.
Right. And quickly, Anna Mae?
I really didn't go many places. I was too busy with the kids. But I do remember going downtown with my boyfriend, who later became my husband, and he took me into a restaurant, and it was the first time I'd been in one, and I thought, oh my God, this man has money. But it was fun.
Well, these memories are precious in their own way. They reopen the doors of old that have been shut many, many years, and the pictures that they unfold for us are really tremendous. We'll be back after a short break.